Hi, I'm Chelsea and I'm the Geeky Ballerina. Today we're going to continue talking about dynamics as one of the elements of artistry in ballet. So as I've mentioned before, and you probably already know, dynamics is also called quality of movement. There are some ballet vocabulary steps that just lend themselves really well to one dynamic, right? Like adagio. Adagio must be at ease. You cannot have a stressed out adagio. You have defeated the purpose. Or plie. I've talked before about how plie needs to be legato in order to get the benefit of the plie. Legato does not mean slow. Some people get quality of movement and tempo confused. Dynamics and musicality are both elements of artistry, but they are separate elements. So let's see what else. Oh, dégagé. Dégagé prepares you for dance best when dégagé has a sharp quality, especially at the bar. We see this a lot at the bar because bar work really is preparing us for choreography, for the center part, which is dancing. Sometimes students think that ballet class doesn't include dancing, and when I get that feedback, it's a really good clue to me that I have kept us stationary for too long. There's a lot of benefit to the bar. There's a lot of benefit to repeating your bar exercises in the center. But at the end of the day, we are refining our movement and our technique so that we can dance through space. But, yes, that is true. But also, bar is where we do that refining. And so it's really, really common for bar exercises to use consistent dynamics or like a narrow range. But if you want to introduce the concept of changing dynamics at bar, like during the bar portion of your class, fondue is a super easy exercise for this. Really, academically, there are two very valid but different approaches to a fondue. You can do it sharply, or you can do it in a more smooth way. And this is, again, so remember how I said musicality and dynamics are not the same thing? They actually kind of play together a lot, and fondue is part of this. If you want to have a sharp dynamic to your fondue, you will be better supported if you choose a 2/4 meter, specifically a tango, for your fondue. If you want a more stretchy, smoother dynamic quality to your fondue, you would be better supported by a 3/4 or 6/8 piece of music. So dynamics and musicality play together a lot. They are separate though. And also, returning to my original point, fondue lends itself to different dynamics really well, and it can be a great first experience in your class for playing with dynamics. Also, encourage your students to pay attention to the dynamics in their transitions. I'm a big fan of transitions anyway. Like, transitions are where the magic happens. I've said it before, I'm gonna say it again. Transitions are where the magic happens. So for example, if you're going to have your students step onto their right foot and then ton leve into an arabesque, what is the dynamic, the quality of movement that they are using on that step? Are they stepping very softly and then contrasting that with a big, powerful, explosive jump? That can be really cool. Or if they want to have a more sustained, happy feeling throughout that, they would step with a lighter, they both would be kind of light because it's a jumpy thing, but they would step with more directness, a little bit more strength behind that movement so that it's almost closer to a skip before they do their jump. That would keep the two closer together in dynamic range. So if you were telling a story and you needed a really steady emotional state, for example, that's one way that you could modify your transition step to help carry that story, to carry that mood. There's all kinds of cool choices that your students can make. And really, where we're hoping to get in our students' training is a place where they can play with the elements of artistry on their own. So we start really focused on technique, and then we give them direction on how to play with these elements of artistry, how to alter them. But in order for our students to develop fully into independent artists, they need to be able to make their own choices. But that's the end goal. I'm gonna back up just a little bit because we do need to support these explorations at first in order for them to be most productive. So when you are helping students first realize and play with the concept of dynamics, I say play a lot, but it's because ballet is so fun. So much fun. Anyway, it's gonna take more of your class time. And I know that I just said we need to be efficient, but sometimes it is faster in the long run to go slowly at the beginning. And I don't mean slow exercises, because again, a slow tempo only lends itself to certain dynamic qualities, and we want to be practicing a wide range. What I mean is it's going to take more time because you're going to do a combination and the dancers will perform it with the dynamic range that they are used to. And then you're going to offer suggestions for how they can change it. And then if you want the learning to really stick best, you're going to take the time to have a conversation with the dancers about how it felt. Physically, how did it feel? Was it easier? Was it harder? Did things change for them? Emotionally, how did it feel? Different dynamics tend to bring up different emotional states for people. Leave the door open. How did it feel for them? When we talk about things and we explain it to people, we understand it better. You also can use video examples to show dancers how the same step can be done with really different dynamics. For example, you can find a video clip of the jumping girl variation from Paquita. She does coupe jeté in those. And then also find a clip from Macmillan's Rite of Spring that also has coupe jeté in it. Those are very different coupe jetés. The technique is the same. The shoulders need to end up in the correct place at the correct time, and the direction of travel and the élancé and the pointed feet and the turnout and all of the technique is the same. But the dynamics are really different, like vastly different. That's a really good comparison. Again, our goal is to help our students become independent artists. Once students have a really strong foundation of the technique of a step that they have learned through dynamics that supported that learning, then we introduce this idea of variation in dynamics and we support them as they start to play. And then when they are auditioning for things, they can make those choices on their own and showcase what amazing dancers they are, which is really cool. If you are interested in other elements of artistry, like musicality, I have several of them listed on my website, geekyballerina.com. I also have a monthly newsletter where I talk about an element of artistry and a technique tip every month. You can sign up for that on my website as well. As always, I hope you have a really great class.